the official platform for news and information for and about the government's ministries and departments. We develop information products on government's policies, programs, projects, and activities, which are then channeled through various communication platforms. GIU, your official source for news and information on the government.
Proud motherland, your children raise your standard high in toil and tears to serve you well. The emerald jewel from God's hand, oh Montserrat, by nature blessed, to you your children sing. Come well, oh woe, come friend or foe, to you your people cling. Rise up and make your country great, with art and skill and sacrifice. When masks and drums we celebrate, triumphant masters of our fate. Oh Montserrat, by nature blessed, to you your children sing. Come well, oh woe, come friend lover, to you your people
We'd now like to welcome to the stage Reverend Jesna Louis Shaw to say the prayer for this evening.
Let us pray. Most gracious God, we, your people, stand here at this time, of God, in your presence to give you thanks and praise for being the God that you are, the God of grace, love, and mercy. We stand now, God, in your presence on this historical and momentum occasion to celebrate, oh God, your goodness, your greatness to our beautiful island of Montserrat. Celebrating, oh God, men and women been called to serve our country from the bottom of the heart. Men and women whom you have called with a sense of purpose, with the capacity of creativity, critical thinking, and purpose plan and will serve our country and continue to serve from the bottom of the heart. But they, oh God, will be awarded for a job well done, for the commitment, willingness to serve and to make a difference. We pray for your anointing upon them, and they continue to serve and help, God, our beautiful island of Montserrat. To you we give all the glory, all the praise that you alone deserve. May this time of celebration be a sense of inspiration for all of us, especially our young people right now, just here this evening, and those who are here this time, entire country of Montserrat, the world by extension, to know exactly what serving in humility, simplicity, and serve from the bottom of the heart is all about. Bless, O God, this ceremony. Bless, O God, this hour. Bless, O God, these your servants will be acknowledged this evening. We will be part of them, O God, and with you thank for them. We pray your anointing not only on them, but all of us who are here this evening and those, of God, just here via the media and Facebook, the entire world. Into your hand, we place, God, the entire ceremony this evening. Bless them, bless all of us, now and forevermore. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming our host for this, the 7th National Honors and Awards Ceremony, Mrs. Lorraine Lewis.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome again to the 7th National Honors and Awards Ceremony. Please permit me to establish the protocol for this evening's ceremony. To the Acting Governor, Your Excellency, Mrs. Lindell Simpson and Mr. Simpson, the Premier, the Honorable Joseph E. Farrell and Mistress Farrell, Speaker of the House, the Honorable Charlene White, Ministers of Government, Honorable Charles Kernan and Honorable Cranston Buffong, the Attorney General, the Honorable Cherie Jemmett Rodney and Mr. Rodney, the Financial Secretary, Honorable Lindorna Lambert, Parliamentary Secretary, Honorable Veronica Dorset Hector, Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Paul Lewis, other members of the Opposition, Honorable Donaldson Romeo and Mrs. Romeo, the Honorable Claude Hogan, former members of the Legislative Assembly, Sir Howard Fergus, Mr. Reuben T. Meade, Ms. Teresina Bodkin, Mrs. Delmaud Ryan and Mr. Ryan, Ministers of the Montserrat Christian Council, Bishop Dr. Melroy Meade and Reverend Jesna Louis Charles, Youth Awardee, Mr. Lionel Baker, soon to be conferred honorees, Mr. Kenneth Allen Q.C., O.B.E., Dr. Vernie Clarice Barnes, Lady Eudora Fergus, represented by Dr. Coretta Fergus, Mr. Sylvester Brown, Mr. William O'Garrow, Bishop Kenrick Harewood, O.B.E., the members of the National Honors and Awards Committee, Miss Laureen Fenton, Mr. Eugene Skerritt, Mr. Adrian Galloway, Ms. Elsa Morgan, Ms. Edith Fenton, Mrs. DeLacy Lewis Peter, Mr. Trevor Howe, the Acting Auditor General, Ms. Marsha Meade, Permanent Secretaries, Mrs. Daphne Castle, Mrs. Beverly Menz, Mr. Liston Skerritt, Commander of the Montserrat Defense Force, Lieutenant Colonel Alvin Ryan, Commissioner of the Police, Mr. Steve Foster, the reigning Queen and Calypso Monarch, Miss Nia St. Clair, and Mr. Keithroy DeBeer DeVoice Mawson, the Master of Ceremonies and Performing Artists, Mrs. Lorraine Lewis, yours truly, Mrs. Mildred Chalmers, Mr. Josiah Passard, Miss Edith Dewberry, and the Emerald Shamiols. Specially invited guests, principals, teachers and students, media representatives, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, present here with us at the Montserrat Cultural Center, as well as virtually. Welcome, and welcome to the 7th National Honors and Award Ceremony. The first award ceremony took place in March 2014. It was initially an annual event. However, most recently, the event is now being held biannually. Previously, the event was widely open to the public. However, due to current health protocols, there are now limitations to the number of persons who could have attended in person. We recognize the persons who are joining us via live video stream on Digicel's Channel 96 and the GIU's YouTube page. This evening, we will be recognizing 6 outstanding Montserratians who have contributed to the development of Montserrat in a number of areas, to include arts and culture, education, civil society, law, and disaster management. There will be 3 categories of awards this evening. The Order of Merit will be bestowed upon Mr. William Willie Kinney O'Garrow and Bishop Kenrick Harewood, O.B.E. The Order of Distinction will be conferred upon Lady Eudora Fergus and Mr. Sylvester Brown. The Order of Excellence will be presented to Dr. Vernie Clarice Barnes and Mr. Kenneth Allen Q.C. This event is also a highly cultural one, and as a result, we tend to feature some of our best musicians, singers, dramatists, poets, and dancers. And so this evening, we will be in for a treat. At this time, it is my pleasure to invite on stage the Honorable Premier of Montserrat, Joseph E. Farrell, to share some remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to accept the protocol that has been established and simply to say, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are present here and those of you who are with us via social media or the internet, to our distinguished awardees, a very good evening and a warm welcome to all of you. It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of you to Montserrat's 7th National Honors and Awards ceremony. Indeed, this is an occasion of real joy as we gather together to celebrate the achievements of 6 Montserratians who have distinguished themselves in their various specialized professions and talents. Having this year achieved 70 years of parliamentary democracy, we all can agree that Montserratians are a people with a proud and rich heritage. A nation of great achievers who have distinguished themselves not only here at home, but within the region and further afield. It is this fact that continues to give me hope for an even better and brighter future for this place so many of us call home. It also gives me the assurance that no matter for our differences and our persuasions, we are a country of self-starters and go-getters who, through hard work and determined effort, have pulled together in the most difficult of times to build a resilient, viable, and politically stable Montserrat. And just as these 6 awardees have distinguished themselves in the past, Montserratians today, both here at home and in the diaspora, continue to do so in ways that are impressive and unforgettable. This evening's ceremony, however, not only offers us a platform for celebration, but also an opportunity for reflection. Reflection on the reality that for Montserrat to progress and build on a sustainable basis post-volcano, we need nation builders who see themselves as stakeholders in our development process, and so will leave no stone unturned in their quest for excellence. We must put heart and hands together, united, whether you are living here at home or in the wider world. We need your contribution in order to rebuild this country. What do we require of you? Surely, your skills, your investment capability, your willingness to make a sacrifice for the good of rebuilding your homeland. John F. Kennedy, in his inaugural speech, and I quote him, "And so, my fellow Americans, and I say so, my fellow Montserratians, ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country." Like John F. Kennedy, I want to challenge all of our peoples, wherever you are, to contribute to improve the public good of this country. I have been told that since the inception of these awards in 2014, a total of 40 Montserratians have received national honors. Added to these, I am pleased to note that in this year's list of awardees are citizens who have distinguished themselves as artists, scholars, educators, attorneys, and entrepreneurs. These recipients were all nominated by ordinary residents and chosen on the advice of the National Honors and Awards Committee, who were guided by a set of criteria which emphasizes contribution to national development, individual distinction, and overall merit. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the people and government of Montserrat, I congratulate all 6 awardees and assure them that their selfless service and contribution have been recognized by a grateful nation. I would like to commend the chair and members of the National Awards Committee for their commitment, competence, and a valiant effort in handling a delicate responsibility for the nomination and selection process. Special thanks to everyone for attending in person and those of you who are viewing online. Let us look forward with confidence and hope as we ensure to do our best at all times for the happiness and prosperity of our beloved Emerald Isle. Thank you, and do enjoy the rest of the proceedings. May God bless us all.
Thank you very much, sir, for those uplifting words. Our first entertainment piece will feature an individual who is widely known for her way with words. Most of us may hear her regularly on Family Reading Time, But tonight, she will be sharing an original piece fitting for this ceremony, entitled Celebrating Contribution. Ladies and gentlemen, help to invite on stage Ms. Edith Dubry.
When I leave the borders of Al-Ugana, I sing the folk songs of my ancestors. O land of the prickly bush, I am your progeny relentlessly. What a night. What a Saturday night. Greetings, one and all, whether you are short or tall. Celebrating contribution. What a celebration without any commotion. Jubilation is in this reception. Our people have a chance for recognition, celebrating our contribution. Charity has graduated from plantation society. Sugar, rum, and slavery no longer dictate our democracy. So let us ensue and be baptized with a rejuvenated mentality. Accelerate the drums of freedom from Northwest Bluff to Roach's Bluff and beyond, with no disparity. Well, it was over 20 years ago when Mas Will was taken to court. He was allegedly charged for stealing Mas Joe's goat sometime in June. Well, on the day of the case, a certain esteemed lawyer from Montserrat represented him. Sir, exactly when your goat was stolen? Well, it was towards the end of June. Sir, this house of law deals with figures and digits. Give the exact date. Well, it was the 31st of June. Sir, did you eat or drink any goat water at your daughter's wedding? Well, of course, I had 3 cups and more. Did you have the slightest inclination that the meat could have been stolen? Well, supposedly so, because everybody is now stealing goat. I am putting it to you that you drag this poor man in court. You have lied in this honorable house. There is no such date as the 31st of June. And on top of that, if you had the slightest inclination that the meat was stolen and you still enjoyed that goat water, the eater of the stolen meat is worse than the thiefer and the seller of that same meat. The magistrate bellowed from his bench, "Order in court. This case is dismissed on the grounds of confession, which is good for the soul." Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to compliment the Obutu, the esteemed Mr. Kenneth Allen Q.C. O.B.E. Order of Excellence for his contribution to politics, culture, and the legal fraternity. Thank you, sir. Well, my heart nearly burst out when I realized that one of my families will be honored tonight. I was so excited to embrace the good news. I had to sit under a tamarind tree. A professor of education and psychology trailblazer in humanity and culture. She organized lots of exhibitions and lectures about pragging, local icons, and the bush tea. And don't bother with some of the hypocrites and them who was talk about certain bush you must use. One sip, and it's good for your cold and the asthma. I am talking about fever grass, donkey rub dung, and noonie. Don't say what I didn't say. Dr. Vernie Clarice Barnes, Order of Excellence, Montserrat, salutes you, my lady. Sometimes I have to laugh, and I wonder why is it that the people from the southern constituency so boasting with themselves about they have great teacher. They're biased, they never come to Corkhill. Tonight, I am delighted that my colleague, Mr. Sylvester Brown, is being recognized for his services to Montserrat. He has worked in the education system, in management, in the classrooms. He taught many to read and write, say the ABC, and do mathematics. And when hurricane is coming, he drive around all the south and tell the people, come from Drummond's Bay, come up to Whitewall and Centre Square. Mr. Brown, I salute you. Order of distinction. And Her Majesty, the queen of them all, the queen of the pack, decent, strong Christian principles, friendly, humble, not pret up. As soon as some ladies get two nice dresses, they walk and step in like Miss Tips on hot rocks. She's not afraid to rap with the grassroots people. She's so kind. She has taught many people science. So we learned how to observe, analyze, and predict. Lady Eudora Fergus, Montserrat, recognizes your services. Order of distinction. You know, and sometimes you don't want to do good for people when you find that they're so ungrateful and pompous, that Mimi, on top all that we do for she look like Jumbie umbrella. She and she mongoose gang, all Haig, Sukna, and Jobless. And when I want to retaliate and take to social media, I remember people like Bishop, Kenrick, Haywood, O.B.E, who has been all around Montserrat praying for people, leading people to Christ and saying to you, let bygones be bygones. He has built so many magnificent buildings. And he drives around Salem at hurricane time to make sure that the people are safe. And if they don't have food, he dig his hands in his pocket, take out money and buy them something. Bishop, Order of Merit, we applaud you this evening. And when I think about this show, that it is near St. Patrick's Day, the St. Patrick's Festival, man, I get excited because this is a time when we highlight our culture. It is a change from March 17, 1768, when 9 of our uncles were executed because they planned to revolt. And as usual, there must be some loudmouth person, a woman, for one drink of rum, she gave away her birthright to, they say, Miss Katie, a white woman. But yet, we have a strong African legacy, so we can have our hair in Congo, cornrow, and corkscrew. We can say things like sense foul and bubbler. We can put on makeup. We can even tattoo. We cook ground provisions, everything in one pot. And we make goat water. It is from Irish pepper stew? No. African pepper soup. That's where it comes from. And we have the masquerades from Africa. And the jack-o'-lanterns, they represent the fire dance. So bring back Jackie Pepper, Jim Galloway, Boxy, Reggie, Dickie Bull. What about Black Sam, Donald Douglas, and all the others? It is culture time. We have a rich African heritage. So we should be glad that we have a chance to award our people to reverse 1768, and we must be proud of it. We have drumming, we have songs, we have scanting, and that is why this evening I'm happy that we are going to be awarding Mr. William O'Gara Willie Kinney for his contributions to drumming, singing, and dancing. Order of merit. God bless you, Willie. And let me tell you something. That's why we drink bush tea to detox ourselves. African heritage. And sometimes to ward off evil spirits. That's why we have Boxhan, Market Day, and bartering. And we sweep our yard with bush and grass. And we make stone ovens. And we make tart. And we could wear our long skirt, and we can speak dialect. Hanum, gimme libit while you yet there. Picnic no hear what mommy say. Drink pepper water, lime and salt. And we have a jumbie dance, and we set with jumbie table too. So somebody please up one bottle of brandy and throw them in the corner. You know have a drink come. The smell is just good enough. So let me sing. Roll like a roaring lion. See me under me roll. Roll like a roaring lion. See me under me roll. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. See me under me roll. Come on. See me under me roll. See me under me roll. We have a strong African heritage. Congratulations to our awardees. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jibri, for your way with words, so fitting for the occasion this evening. We're now going to move on with the ceremony. And our first category of awards is the presentation of the Order of Merit. Under the National Honors and Awards Act 2013, the Order of Merit is awarded to a Montserratian for meritorious contribution to national development in the field of arts, science, commerce, sports, education, governance, philanthropy, community service, or any related area. Our first individual to be presented with the Order of Merit this evening will be Mr. William O'Gara. For each awardee, we will be hearing more about their contributions to Montserrat via a series of pictures and video footage, along with a citation.
Mr. William O'Gara, also known as Dancer, who claims to have left school prematurely, has nevertheless contributed amazingly to the cultural artistic life of Montserrat. A eulogist describes him as dancer, choreographer, actor, singer, songwriter, teacher, drummer, costume designer, and band leader. While he can be associated with all of these genres, he's particularly famous in Montserrat for his dancing, and secondly, as a drummer. Mr. O'Gara made his dancing debut doing The Twist at the first local carnival in 1962, and went on to dance on broken bottles for the local community, who lost their homes as a result of the George Street fire, and later danced for the tourists at the Viewpoint Hotel, thereafter taking the bottle dance to neighboring islands. Willie played drums for the Melody Makers Band in 1965 and toured with them to St. Lucia. He also toured countries such as Trinidad and Guyana for the first Caribbean Festival of Arts, CariFesta. He toured with national groups like the Emerald Community Singers with his dancing, drumming, or playing the Shack Shack. Not relying only on natural talent with which he was liberally endowed, Mr. O'Garrow received training in dance in both Jamaica and Trinidad, and also taught and performed there. Thus qualified, he taught dance in most of the schools in the island, including the Montserrat Secondary School and especially the Braids Primary. He also taught dance in Antigua and St. Croix and even further afield. Additionally, he coached Queen Show contestants in the arts of dance and drama. Mr. O'Garrow's first dance troupe was the university-based Aliogana Dancers, formed in 1972, and he followed up around 1982 with his Hibiscus Dance Group, a group he resurrected in England in 2000 with the assistance of Barbadian Cecilia Beckett and a couple others. In 1984, he was invited to teach and perform dance and drumming in Australia, the USA, and Europe. O'Garrow became an international figure in the art of dance. Obviously, William had taken his cultural ways to England, allying and working with several organizations, including Claudia Jones' organization and the Montserrat Aid Committee, MAC 89, with whom he gave his first solo performance. As a professional dancer, he was advisor to dance groups and taught dance at a number of educational institutions in England. His Hibiscus Dance Group not only performed at the Notting Hill and Hackney Carnival festivals with Mr. O'Garrow as band leader, but he also traveled to other carnivals in Europe. He's also known to have participated in calypso competitions in London, having performed his first calypso in Montserrat. While in London, William choreographed and directed 4 main productions, including Out of Africa We Come and Roots, the latter based on the famous Kunta Kinte story. In his work, Mr. William O'Garrow maintained a sense of community and a patriotic spirit. He was a shelter manager during the volcanic crisis in Montserrat, and in 1999 established a group in London, Keep Montserrat Alive, to teach dancing, singing, and acting. In Montserrat, he was closely associated with cultural icon Dr. James George Irish, who facilitated and supported his work, and this allowed his attachment to community groups such as Emerald Community Singers, and he actually performed in a David Edgecombe play, Coming Home to Roost. In England, William is a member of the Aliogana Singers, who hold him in great esteem. Additionally, O'Garrow has been involved in a number of charitable fundraising activities at home and abroad. In England, William is a member of the Aliogana Singers, who hold him in great esteem. Additionally, O'Garrow has been involved in a number of charitable fundraising activities at home and abroad. Visiting in 2014, in the spirit of volunteerism, he instructed dance groups and performed, including dancing on bottles during the St. Patrick's Day celebrations in 2017. And he also drummed with the Montserrat Arts Council for the play 1768. Mr. William O'Garrow's journey in the arts has been long and impressive. He has made his name and put a gloss on the island's name both at home and in the international sphere. His worthiness of official national recognition is without question.
Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite the Honorable Premier, Mr. Joseph Farrell, and the 2021-2022 Miss Montserrat, Miss Nia St. Clair, onto the stage to present the Order of Merit Award and Certificate to Mr. William O'Garrow. I now invite Mr. William O'Garrow to the stage.
Good evening, everybody. I wouldn't say ladies and gentlemen, I just said it. Yeah, I'm Willie Kenneth Allen, as you could see, in person. I'm just like this because I'm celebrating my 50th year of choreography, dance, drums, singing, name it, I'm in it. This shirt is from Emerald Community Singers, 1972, when we made our first record in Trinidad, and then we left for Guyana. Well, tonight I would like to say thanks to everybody who, who have any part in this, in nominating me for this occasion. I'm very sorry that my friend is not here because she kept me going in England. I don't know if that helps, but I think because of her, I'm getting this also. So I would like to say thanks to my friend Cecilia Beckett, a Bajan, because all the other Montserratians put me down. And I'm so glad for this because what I'm going to say is thank you all for giving me this at this time, for smelling my rose before I die. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And Mr. O'Garrow will now be addressed as William O'Garrow, O.M. For those who might be curious as to the nomination process for this award ceremony, the National Honors and Awards Committee is established under the National Honors and Awards Act. There is a nomination period during which persons are open to nominate Montserratians for awards within the 4 categories. Number 1, the Order of National Hero. Number 2, the Order of Excellence. Number 3, the Order of Distinction. And number 4, the Order of Merit. Your nominations will then be considered by the committee. Now, our second awardee under the Order of Merit will be presented to Bishop Kenneth Haywood, O.B.E.
This is a citation for Bishop Kenrick Da Costa Haywood, MBE. Kenrick Da Costa Haywood, MBE, is a Barbadian by birth. This is a citation for Bishop Kenrick Da Costa Haywood, MBE. Kenneth DaCosta Haywood, MBE, is a Barbadian by birth and a citizen of Montserrat. He is married to Rosita Haywood, and together they have 4 children. Kenneth DaCosta Haywood, MBE, is a pastor. He moved to Montserrat on November 10, 1970, and assumed the position of pastor of the Church of God of Prophecy in Harris's. He was later appointed district overseer of the Montserrat churches of that denomination, and was further ordained and promoted bishop on February 25, 1977, after being transferred to Salem in 1975. A prominent minister of religion, Bishop Haywood became a most productive citizen of Montserrat. He established Haywood Construction Limited, thereby merging his 2 professions, and went on to build 4 churches across the island. Bishop Haywood regards this accomplishment as a testimony of his faith and God-given gifting. He holds formal qualifications in both theology, a PhD, and building construction. But it is because of his penchant for community service that he was awarded the British MBE at Buckingham Palace on October 27, 2000. While he was serving as a pastor in Salem, Bishop Haywood caught the attention of a Sergeant Matthew of the Salem Police Station, who recognized his capabilities and invited him to serve as a member of the Disaster Preparedness Committee back in 1975. At that time, the Montserrat Police were responsible for disaster preparedness. Given his diligence and caring ways, he was appointed chairman of the Salem Disaster District Committee in 1988 and went on to serve for 38 years. His district was generally regarded as well organized during emergencies. He deemed it a delight to help people in the community. Bishop Haywood took on the reins in Salem at a strategic time to address the disaster created by Hurricane Hugo back in 1989. The shelters were activated in a professional manner, and the senior citizens in particular well taken care of. The same level of efficiency was evident in responding to other systems such as Hurricanes Louis and Marilyn. Bishop Haywood led a team that was very successful in managing and mitigating the impact of damaging weather conditions on the local community. He paid particular attention to details, especially in ensuring that the senior citizens were taken to shelters that were competently managed. When the Soufriere Hills volcano roared back to life in 1995, just 6 years after Hurricane Hugo, the challenge to disaster management personnel was even more demanding, especially as Salem was the first stop for persons fleeing from the eastern and southern parts of the island. Under Bishop Haywood's methodical leadership, Salem rose to the occasion and managed shelter life effectively and efficiently, including attention to the vulnerable and the systematic distribution of essential supplies. He was frequently called on for meetings with officials such as the governor, chief minister, the then emergency department director, the scientific community, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Response Agency, CIDERA, the police, the Montserrat Defense Force, and the National Disaster Preparedness Response Advisory Committee, NDPRAC. He is pleased to have been involved in the management of the notorious volcanic crisis. Bishop Haywood is also pleased that his construction company was awarded the contract to build the Montserrat Volcano Observatory, MVO, in Upper Flemings. In his words, it has become a state-of-the-art building utilized by scientists and artists from around the world. Pastor at heart, the bishop has a message for the young people of Montserrat, that they should get involved in disaster preparedness and be ready to serve at the community level. Indeed, he said, they should engage in studies in disaster preparedness and management, as well as in the science of climate change. Finally, Bishop Haywood encourages the involvement of the entire community in disaster preparedness through volunteerism. For him, this is an adjunct to the central gospel with which he is intimately associated. Bishop Haywood's distinction was not confined to disaster management and building construction. He was also recognized for his decorative Christmas lights at his home in Salem. On 2 occasions, he won the National Christmas Lighting Competition in the early 2000s and was runner-up on other occasions. The bishop is deemed worthy to be decorated with a Montserrat National Honor.
To Miss Montserrat, Miss Nia St. Clair, to present the Order of Merit Award and Certificate to Bishop Kenneth Haywood, M.B.E.
Madam Chairperson, permit me to also accept this protocol that have been established. You know, spirit me a little bit shaken up. Firstly, let me just say to the other recipients, congratulations to you who have been awarded this tonight for your service. I'm truly grateful to receive this award, and I accept it with a sense of humility and thankfulness. Permit me to affirm my gratitude to the members of the Salem District Disaster Committee who played a very important role in the success of disaster preparedness in the Salem District. In the success of disaster preparedness in the Salem District, extend this great honor this evening to each and every one of you. My first duty then is to give God thanks, give him the glory and praise. And in doing so, I want to read just the last verse of Psalms 23. Surely goodness and mercies shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I want to tell you positively that God has been good to me throughout my life. It began from the time I was a child. I've seen many wonderful, wonderful things happen for me. And coming to Montserrat, they came with me. I want to tell you that the people of Montserrat has been extremely good to me, not only people that look like me, but the white community among us. I want to say to you a big thanks. This is the third time that you have stood up for me. And I appreciate it so much. I get kind of feeling, who am I? But I thank you for standing up for me. The first time the then governor said to me, Kenrick, a wide cross-section of Montserrat people have stand up for you. He used another fancy word. But that was to receive the award from Her Majesty the Queen. The second time, I was to be ordained bishop. And one of the things that you have to have a good record within the church and without the church. And a very high level bishop came down from Cleveland, Tennessee, and he stayed with me the night. I never knew what he was about. But the morning he left home early, and when he came back the night, he told me, Kenrick, a lot of Montserratians have spoken well about you. I never knew that he was all down with the rum shop and so on, asking people about Kenrick Haywood. And after he done asked me, told me that, hey, the people speak very well about you. He asked me, where you get this house from? He was at my house, and I was very happy to tell him it is the Montserrat Building Society money. And this time, I don't even know who's on the committee, but I want to say thanks to you. I feel I'm a very deserving person, and I want to say thanks to you. And I must close out by telling you this. I love Montserrat just like you. I love the people of Montserrat. Every morning I turn out from home or going somewhere, somebody is going to shout me on the road, hey, what are you doing? There's that greetings, there's that good feeling. I enjoy the peace and tranquility of this island. And I want to tell you, like Ruth told the mother-in-law, entreat me not to leave thee, not to return from following after thee. Where thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God, my God. Praise the Lord. God bless you.
And Bishop Kenrick Haywood, MBE, will now be addressed as Bishop Kenrick Haywood, MBE, OM. Our next entertainer to take the stage this evening will be Josiah Passard. He will be performing a steel pan medley of popular cultural songs. Josiah has been playing the steel pan for over 10 years, and he has grown considerably in the art form. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to the stage Josiah Passard. What an extremely talented young man. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening the Order of Distinction will be bestowed upon two individuals. Now, the Order of Distinction is awarded to a Montserratian who in any field has given distinguished and outstanding service or has attained remarkable achievement at the national level or made remarkable contribution on a national level. Our first individual to receive this prestigious award is Lady Eudora Fergus.
A quiet and dignified individual, Lady Eudora Fergus has made a significant contribution to education in Montserrat in a career spanning some 36 years. She started at the Montserrat Secondary School MSS in 1969, teaching home economics to Forms 1 through 5, before going for academic studies at the Cayville campus of the University of the West Indies in Barbados. She returned to Montserrat in 1972 and taught mathematics and integrated science at the MSS and developed a reputation for teaching the former at the lower school. To this day, many of her students applaud Mrs. Fergus for her pedagogic skills and mark her out as a favorite and competent teacher. Mrs. Fergus's service to the Montserrat Secondary School was wide-ranging. Teaching at all three campuses, she filled several positions. In addition to being senior teacher and vice principal, she served as games mistress, house mistress, and science club and inter-school Christian fellowship coordinator. Lady Fergus was a highly trained educational professional. In 1981, she obtained a certificate of education with emphasis on the teaching of science from the University of the West Indies UWI Mona campus in Jamaica, and between 1988 and 1990, she pursued a Bachelor of Education degree at the Cayville campus, specializing in testing and measurement, and graduated with first-class honors. Her special study was titled An Investigation into the Relationship Between Learning Concept of Third Formers in Two Different Ability Groups in the MSS. Further, in 1994, Lady Eudora graduated from the University of London Institute of Education with a master's degree in education and development, with teacher education as a specialism. Moreover, she participated in short in-training courses, both at Learner and Co-Tutor, with emphasis on guidance and counseling, school management, remedial reading, and testing and measurement. These qualifications buttressed her teaching career. In 1990, her field was at the Thompson Field campus, where she was senior teacher, teaching integrated science, physics, and religious knowledge, in addition to administrative duties. Back from the UK in 1994, she was posted to the Salem campus as senior teacher prior to being promoted as vice principal of the MSS. With the eruption of the Soufriere Hills volcano, she demonstrated creative thinking when she re-established part of the school in the unfinished Woodville condominiums, setting up classrooms from scratch and readying them for occupation by students and teachers. Based on her accomplishments as teacher and administrator, Lady Eudora Fergus was appointed education officer with responsibility for early childhood and primary education in 1999. In that capacity, an official ministry report observed that she used her pedagogic, management, and interpersonal skills to strengthen the foundation levels of the education system. She also took steps to establish the legal framework of and association for early childhood education. At the primary level, Lady Eudora emphasized the improvement of students' performance in reading and mathematics and showed interest in the establishment of a special needs unit. Soon after her retirement in 2002, Lady Fergus became director of the Montserrat National Trust, MNT, serving in that capacity for about 10 years. There, she mounted a number of historic exhibitions, including a walk down Parliament Street, and Montserratians, 90 years and older, including the life of the iconic Robert W. Griffith. An important element of her legacy is the establishment of an Amerindian section in the Botanic Gardens, which features medicinal indigenous herbs. She takes pleasure in the thought that she literally worked in the garden herself. Her service at the trust may have been abridged by illness, but not before she had made a significant mark. Along with her professional career, Lady Fergus served Montserrat in a number of community niches. For a period, she was patron of the Montserrat branch of the British Red Cross, as well as the Girl Guides organization. Additionally, she was busy in the religious life of her church as youth leader and religious education director, as well as serving on the church board of the Faith Tabernacle Pentecostal Church for a period. Her views were well respected. Lady Fergus's contribution to the island has already earned her some recognition. At her retirement in 2002, she was given a plaque at a formal event to recognize her 33 years of dedicated service to education. And in 2009, she received a prestigious Funky Man Award for her service to the island. This current national award is highly appropriate.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Paul Lewis, along with Miss Montserrat Nia St. Clair, who will be presenting the honour to Lady Eudora Fergus. I would now like to invite to the stage Dr. Coretta Fergus to accept this award on behalf of her mother, Lady Eudora Fergus.
I am scarcely the person to accept this award on behalf of such a worthy woman. Nonetheless, I am honored. I will read the following from Lady Eudora Fergus. I wish to thank all of the persons involved in recognizing me as being worthy of this award. That is, whoever nominated me, the awards committee, and the government. I want to mention a few persons who played a key role in my teaching career, such as the late Doris Bramble, my home economics teacher, Mr. Eustace Ferrance, my third form teacher, and Pastor Henry Howes, who was like a father to me. There are others whose support and cooperation featured in what I have achieved. They are too many to mention, and that includes my immediate family. While I appreciate the award, I must say that what guided me was the desire to do my duty, whether to children, teachers, or the general public, to the best of my ability and going the extra mile where necessary. The motivation was never public applause or recognition. Still, it feels good to be publicly appreciated. Let me also thank God for giving me the enablement to serve my country and generation in some meaningful way. Thanks again to all involved, and to God be the glory.
And Lady Eudora Fergus will now be addressed as Lady Eudora Fergus, O.D. One of the changes for this year and subsequent years is the award of a certificate to each honoree. In the past, awardees were provided with medals only. However, the National Honors and Awards Committee made the recommendation for each awardee to now receive certificates which highlight the category of their awards and their specific areas of service. These certificates were signed by the Honorable Premier and further authenticated with the official seal of the Office of the Premier. The second individual to receive the Order of Distinction will be Mr. Sylvester Brown.
A professional educator, Mr. Sylvester Brown started teaching in his native village at the St. Patrick's School in... A professional educator, Mr. Sylvester Brown started teaching in his native village at the St. Patrick's School in 1968. Thereafter, he had extensive training and education beginning in 1970 at the Corkill Training Center, where the studies led to a College of Preceptors certificate. After another teaching stint at the primary level, he attended the Regional Teachers Training Institution in Erdiston, Barbados, where he received general training 1975 to 1977, and in 1997 and 1999 he attended short training courses of 1 month duration at Nipissing University in Canada. His teaching tenure encompassed several schools in his long career of some 50 years. After training, Mr. Brown taught at the Plymouth Junior Secondary School for 9 years, 1977 to 1986, his subjects being physical education, mathematics, and social studies. He was also partly responsible for organizing the first sports day involving 4 houses: diamonds, hearts, clubs, and spades. Moving to secondary education in 1986, Mr. Brown taught mathematics at the Dagenham campus of the Montserrat Secondary School, which relocated to Thompson Field due to Hurricane Hugo. There, he taught mathematics from Forms 1 to 3. In 1996, Sylvester was promoted to administration as principal of the Plymouth Primary School, although due to hurricane activity, most of the classes had to be housed at Andy's Village Place. In the volcanic era, he also taught at the Braids Primary School, rejoining the MSS in 1999 to serve alternatively as vice principal and subject teacher. He was also responsible for a group of 8 boys who had learning and behavior issues. It was his responsibility to teach them the core areas including English and mathematics. Mr. Brown was vice principal when the school was going through organizational change. Some of the changes involved, for example, the creation of the Lower Educational Attainers Project, LEAP, to address the needs of a number of students at the lower level of the school, and a pupil support unit established to treat with psychological and cognitive needs of some students. Serving over the years in primary, junior, secondary, and senior secondary education, Mr. Brown developed rich knowledge in teaching and administration, which he in turn invested in the lives of children island-wide. Is it any wonder that he was recruited to teach at the St. Augustine Primary School from 2012 to 2016, after his official retirement, and finished up at the MSS in 2019, helping a number of boys who had difficulties integrating with the main school. This in itself was an eloquent recognition of the expertise of this lifelong educator. Mr. Sylvester Brown's service to the island was not confined to education. He was a community volunteer. Beginning in 1970, he headed the St. Patrick's Hurricane Committee, later designated Disaster Preparedness. In that capacity, he was summoned to action after both Hurricane David in 1979 and the infamous Hugo in 1989. This involved organizing and managing shelters, housing residents, and distributing supplies, all of which are highly responsible activities. The eruption of the volcano in 1995 heightened the demands with the need to open shelters and to relocate the residents of St. Patrick's. Mr. Brown was at the center of it all. Mr. Brown was a very active member on the committee that organized St. Patrick's Day activities from 1985 to 1995. Mr. Brown also distinguished himself as an elections worker. Starting out as a poll clerk, he moved on to be presiding officer and served in almost every general elections since the early 1970s. Reportedly, he is one of the most competent and reliable presiding officers in the business. The country owes a big debt to him. While Mr. Brown was busy in the secular area, he did not omit church affairs. A staunch Roman Catholic, he served on the parish council, now parish pastoral council, of the church on numerous occasions beginning in the 1970s. Additionally, he serves as church warden, sacristan, and facilitator. An unassuming gentleman, Mr. Sylvester Brown led a busy and productive life in education and in community affairs, and the island benefited tremendously. Honoring him nationally today is amply justified and is worthy of national applause.
I now invite to the stage Mr. Sylvester Brown.
Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to adopt the protocols established. Good evening, and a special good evening to my invited guests. This is a surreal, emotional, and unforgettable experience for me. Never in my wildest dream did I expect to be honored in this way. Anytime now, even at this late stage, I expect to be shaken out of my slumber. However, to God be the glory. To him I give all the praise and thanks. He's been my deliverer, my provider. Tonight, bear with me as I pay tribute to and say thank you to those persons who have impacted my life in some way. I must, of course, acknowledge my dear departed mother, a true phenomenal woman, my superhero, the only father I've ever knew, a woman who taught by her own selfless example how to be loving and caring to others. To my siblings and extended family. And tonight I must, at the risk of creating jealousy, call to mind my sister, Donna Mellie, and her husband, who allowed me during the dark days of the volcanic crisis to crash with them. Also, my other sister, who is more like a mother, Eulalie, who for the past 6 years have been my carer, in other words. To my children and their mothers, and my grandchildren, thank you for your fulfilling presence in my life. The fact that I can stand here and speak to you, hopefully using words correctly, did not come by accident, but as a result of the hard work of the many great teachers I had over the years. And here I must single out two. I remember my teacher Elaine White Samuels, who took me under her wing when I was forced to change schools. I also acknowledge dear departed Teacher Kitty, who completed the job started by Teacher Elaine. In fact, Teacher Kitty was the one who got me into teaching. I don't know what she signed me, because I never even had teaching anywhere near my ambition. But in those days, you obeyed two persons, your parent and your teacher. And when the two come together, you have no choice. So I joined teaching, and soon it became a part of me. So much so that one of my great aunts said I used to teach in my sleep. I have no regrets, because I could have done worse. And I cherish the memories and the experiences I have gained throughout the years. I would also like to acknowledge the doctors and nurses on Montserrat and those in England who have taken care of me over these last 6 years. Life would be empty if you didn't have friends. And I think I'm blessed with some very good friends, both my church family and past colleagues. I thank you, my appreciation for your love and your praise. I am reminded at this time about 2 lines from a song. Don't worry, I won't sing. And they go, no man is an island, by himself an entity. And so tonight, I want to acknowledge the work of the former residents of St. Patrick's Safari City, whose dedication and commitment to service were largely responsible for me accomplishing anything. Last but not least, I'd like to thank the person or persons who saw it fit to nominate me for this award, and for the committee for accepting. Congratulations to the other awardees. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what's on my mind. Thank you, and continue to enjoy St. Patrick's. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Sylvester Brown will now be addressed as Sylvester Brown, O.D. A staple feature for our past national honors and award ceremony is our masquerades. They would traditionally open the event. However, for this year, we decided to feature them differently. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome our Emerald Chamioles to the stage. For me, there is just nothing like it in this world. I love it. I wonder how many people remember growing up. We used to follow them for miles. We had no water, no food, but we would be behind going from village to village back in the day. Anyway, our final category for this evening will be the Order of Excellence. The Order of Excellence is awarded to a Montserratian who by extraordinary and unwavering commitment and devoted and distinguished service has contributed significantly to the development of Montserrat and positively projected its image, or for exceptional achievements in any field or discipline at the national, regional, or international level. This evening, Dr. Vernie Clarice Barnes will be our first recipient of this award.
Dr. Vernie Clarice Chambers Barnes. Sometimes portrayed as a cultural activist, Dr. Clarice Barnes is really a versatile mover, having served as educator, psychologist, and creative intellectual. After schooling in Montserrat and the United Kingdom, she pursued tertiary education in England, especially at the University of Birmingham, where she gained bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees, specializing in education and psychology. She also holds certificates in education and in youth and community work. Significantly, her PhD thesis was on the Montserrat volcanic eruption, titled A Study of Meaning, Psychosocial Effects, Coping and Intervention. Dr. Barnes is credited with a brilliant teaching career at the tertiary level, and she also taught history at the secondary level in Montserrat and in Birmingham, UK. She was a visiting lecturer in both education and public health at the University of Birmingham from 1997 to 2012, a professor of education at the William V.S. Tubman University in Liberia from 2013 to 2015, and a visiting lecturer at the Social Welfare Training Center, University of the West Indies, UWI. She brought this experienced background to the principalship of the Montserrat Community College from 2015 to 2017. Staying close to education and training, Dr. Barnes has been involved in social development across the region. Strategically positioned in UWI Unit, Women and Development WAND, she worked on gender and development issues and community transformation in the Leeward Islands and Montserrat, and even further afield. Additionally, she provided disaster counseling in post-Hugo and post-volcano eras, including training counselors, thereby achieving a multiplier effect. Worthy of mention is the emergence of the support group PALS Self-Help Counseling Group, which dealt with community development in Stratham and other communities. Volcano-related, Dr. Barnes contributed to the resettlement of Montserrat migrants in the UK when she served as program officer in the Midlands. For one thing, she ensured the establishment of the Montserrat Education Award Scheme to facilitate access to tertiary education by Montserratians at a concessionary cost. Significantly also, Dr. Barnes was a member of the panel which spoke to a group of MPs in the British House of Commons on the need of support for the viability of life in Montserrat. Social involvement for Dr. Barnes was often associated with and underpinned by her training in psychology and non-formal education. This was applicable to the training of nurses, teachers, and community workers in reproductive health and health promotion generally across 13 English-speaking countries. She also provided consultancies for several international organizations such as PAHO, UNICEF, and UNICEF in gender health and development and disaster counseling, for examples. Significantly,
As school psychologist in the Ministry of Education, she created the Pupil Support Unit, Montserrat, in 2007, a measure which helped to stabilize the Montserrat Secondary School at a time of crisis. Insights gained from an international fellowship in family therapy, competitively acquired at the University of Illinois, helped to inform this innovation. The work of Dr. Barnes is particularly significant in the broad area of cultural promotion and civil involvement. Selected examples will suffice. She successfully advocated for a part of the traveling section of the Equiano exhibition mounted by the Birmingham Museum to be brought to the island. The historical significance of this is that Equiano was registered as a slave in Montserrat in 1763. In a related move, Dr. Barnes was appointed curator of the National Montserrat Museum in 2020 and staged the exhibition Crossing Stitches for its opening. She has followed up with a number of interesting exhibitions reflecting the history of Montserrat to the educational benefit of all, including children. The seminal radio program, Under the Tamarind Tree, which has existed for 17 years, is perhaps one of the most significant projects of Dr. Barnes' creative intellect to have impacted the island and even the region. Focusing on the personality, philosophy, and perspectives of outstanding Montserratians and others, especially of the region, and presented in a cultural context, this is regarded as a brilliant and engaging program. In this vein, it is not surprising that Dr. Barnes has been in demand to deliver in most lecture series on island. These include the St. Patrick's Day, the Dr. George Irish, and Arrow series. She comes up with intriguing topics such as post-colonial hybridity as represented in Arrow's Proud to be Montserratian, and Volcano at 20, discerning shifting rhythms and beat. As a Montserratian intellectual, Dr. Barnes has justified the designation, having paid her dues. Dr. Barnes is no closet professional. She has had membership in numerous social organizations and has been active as a volunteer. This list includes Emerald Community Singers, the staff choral group O.B.E Barbados, Wesley Singers, University of Birmingham Choir, and the Montserrat Theatre Group. She was also associated with the Old People's Welfare Association, the Red Cross, and counseling in the prison. She not only counseled widely in respect to the volcano, but did so in the streets and other popular venues in the UK. Interestingly, Dr. Barnes not only dances masquerade, but is a researcher on the art. As a scholar, Dr. Barnes is widely published in learned journals and book chapters, and a good deal of her work features the island to which she has given a lifetime of quality service in multiple fields. A national honor for Dr. Vernie Clarice Barnes is abundantly justified.
The Honorable Premier Joseph E. Farrell and Miss Montserrat, Nia St. Clair, who will be presenting the honors to Dr. Clarice Barnes, Dr. Vernie Clarice Barnes. I would now like to invite to the stage Dr. Vernie Clarice Barnes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I stand in the awesomeness and humility that accompanies receiving a national honor. When your country singles you out in this way, it is a beautiful experience for which my response could only be, thank you. I stand here tonight to tell a story of gratitude. The Nigerian writer Chimamanda Adichie, whose work I admire greatly, cautions about the danger of a single story. But there is no other that I can tell when I consider the rough and muddy road that I have traveled to get here. First, I thank God for equipping me for the journey and for being my refuge and strength. Thank you, Honorable Premier, the government, and the people of Montserrat for bestowing such an honor. Thanks for the selection committee and the organizers of this event. To my friends and family here with me and those watching virtually, much gratitude for your constant support. And to all gathered, thank you. My journey along this muddy and rough road began in a place called Trials. I was a left-behind child of a family that migrated to the UK as part of the Windrush. Two elders, Sarah Harris and Uncle Dan Missett, heard the cry of my teenage mother for a foster parent and said, yes. They and the entire village raised me. It was through them that I learned to serve, for out of their poverty, they were always generous. They introduced me to the people of the poorhouse, the chateau at the end of the muddy Trials Road, for whom I ran errands, combed hair, read the Bible, read and wrote letters. In turn, they hugged and encouraged me. These were the elderly, the disabled, the indigent, all on the margins of society. Here is where I first learned the rudiments of humanitarianism and to teach. I also learned that giving and receiving are the same in spirit. I'm eternally grateful to Sarah and Uncle Dan and all of the villagers of Trials, the under the Tamarind Tree people who now abide in the land of the ancestors, for caring, guiding, and shaping me as I traverse the muddiness of early life. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Not all of us would become famous, but all of us could be great, because all of us can serve. It is God-given. I am grateful for the opportunities that were made open to me to serve in the fields of education, social development, and cultural activism in Montserrat, the region, and across the globe. In parting, I leave you words from Nelson Mandela's inaugural speech, which hold great meaning for me as I journey on in service. Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I? To be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous. Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people wouldn't feel insecure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in every one of us. And as we let our light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you.
And Dr. Vernie Clarice Barnes will now be addressed as the Right Honorable Dr. Vernie Clarice Barnes, O.E. Ladies and gentlemen, the final individual to receive the Order of Excellence will be Mr. Kenneth Allen Q.C.
Kenneth Allen Q.C. O.B.E. After schooling in Montserrat, the now Queen's Counsel, Kenneth Allen, traveled to England where he studied law. Returning home, he became one of the most prominent Montserratians of his generation. When one combines his outstanding legal career with his equally outstanding contribution to civil society, together with his accomplishments in music, he can be appropriately designated a Renaissance man. Qualifying as a lawyer, Mr. Allen was called to the Bar of England and Wales in January 1959 and to the Eastern Caribbean Bar in the same year. He proceeded to practice law in the areas of probate and estate administration, conveyancing, criminal law, corporate law, and general practice. Distinguishing himself as a lawyer, he gained silk in 1993. That is to say, he was appointed as one of Her Majesty's Council learned in the law. Lawyer Allen, as he is popularly called, served as High Court Judge of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court in 1991, 1997, and 2001, and acted as a Justice of Appeal in 2010. Mr. Kenneth Allen was a prime architect of the Montserrat Bar Association and served as its president for a long time. The aim of the bar is, inter alia, to maintain and improve the standard of conduct and proficiency of the legal profession on the island. The QC participated for some time in the political life of the island. In 1978, he was appointed to serve as a nominated member of the Montserrat legislature, and that body benefited from his wisdom and advice for about a decade. He also acted as Speaker of Council occasionally. This lawyer's service was sought after to chair commissions, including the important Public Service Commission. Mr. Allen also served as a director of the board of the Bank of Montserrat and subsequently chairman. Evidently, he served the island faithfully outside of the parliamentary and legal arenas. In his book, The Fire Within, Personal Reflections on My Life and My Homeland, the late Professor J.A. Irish observed, Kenneth has demonstrated a level of patriotism, legal competence, and community awareness that is unmatched by Montserratian jurists of his time. His community awareness is evident in the number of social organizations in which he served. He was a founder member and president of the Junior Chamber of Commerce, JCs, established here in 1961 by Vincent Brown, Kenneth Castle, Cedric Osborne, and others to provide leadership for young men. For his work in the organization, Kenneth was granted the honorific title of JC Senator. Mr. Allen was also a founding member and trustee of the Montserrat Foundation, which was founded in 1972. This is a charitable organization that gives grants for scientific, religious, or educational purposes. It attracts money to the island from United States of America citizens who make donations to the foundation and obtain tax credits as a result. The island has benefited significantly from these grants. Lawyer Allen served as a trustee of the foundation up to 2020. Outside of civil society, Mr. Allen is known to be a philanthropist in his own right. Referred to as a man of the people, he is said to be a godfather to students, individuals, families, and non-profit organizations. He has been a benevolent citizen. It is perhaps not widely recognized today that Lawyer Allen is an accomplished musician, including songwriting. He has written calypsos for the great Alphonsus Arocastle, Gene Under the Bed, Hold On to Your Property, and The Long Journey are of his authorship. He sometimes makes trenchant social commentary in his songs. When government made a galvanized ginnery a hurricane shelter at the passing of Hurricane Cleo, he satirized the action in his hilarious song, Not Me in the Ginnery. In addition, there is his timeless patriotic song, O Montserrat, which many regard as a national song. It contains the haunting lines, I promise you that I'll never leave you, no matter whatever shall betide, until your shores become my Jordan and I'm called to the other side. When Lawyer Allen was awarded the O.B.E, it was supremely justified, having served the island with distinction for decades. Equally justified today is a national honor for this Montserratian good and great who is worthy to be dubbed a legend.
The Honorable Premier and Miss Montserrat, near St. Clair. I'd now like to invite Mr. Kenneth Allen Q.C, O.B.E, for his award.
Thank you for your generosity. I must first of all congratulate all those who have been given awards on their success. It is difficult to say what I deserve to say to you in 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and I think that is the time that is limited to me. Instead, I thank you all collectively as Montserratians. There are names which deserve special mention, but it will take all night, and I learned that I have 3 or 4 minutes. But forgive me if I mentioned one person especially. And in doing this, I am literally toasting to absent friends. But I must mention Mrs. Eudora Fergus. She's a great lady and a great friend. And I would like to send a message to her via her family that miracles still happen. I wish you all a pleasant evening and good night.
And now Mr. Kenneth Allen Q.C., O.B.E., going forward will be addressed as the Right Honorable Kenneth Allen Q.C., O.B.E., O.E. As we come to the end of this program, let's give a round of applause to the distinguished Montserratians who were honored here tonight. And to end this evening's entertainment session, it brings me great pleasure to invite on stage a talented and remarkably gifted son of the soil, our reigning Calypso monarch, The Voice.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? Congratulations to all the awardees. Too long, yes, too long. We singing the same song. Our nation is going down the drain. We change politicians, yet it's the same action. All they bring us is pure pressure and pain. So the time has come for we the old to take control. We cannot wait until our bells are tolled. To rebuild this country should be our main focus. Our youngsters are depending on us, so it's a must. Eugene Skerritt, Huron Clad Brown, in agriculture you're well renowned. Let us rebuild, we've got the will. Tibai, Emil and Akai, we can't allow your skills to die. Let us rebuild, we've got the will. Oh, grab some youngsters and pass it on. Our nation's future can't wait till you're dead and gone. No!
We build it back, Montserrat. We build it back,
brick by
we build it
brick.
back, Montserrat. We build it back,
Nail by
build it back,
nail.
Montserrat. We build it back,
It can be
we build it
fixed.
back, Montserrat. We build it back.
We shall prevail. We cannot fail. Oh, we cannot fail. No, we cannot fail. This song goes out to everyone who have a skill, whether in education, academics. Pass it on. Pass it on to the youths. The cry of this land is that we're sinking in the sand, and our youngsters are leaving every day. Opportunities are slim, our future looks grim, and church leaders are telling us to pray. But prayer without work is like an eagle who cannot soar. A good carpenter without tools can't hang a door. To rebuild this nation, we need our human resource with experience to help steer the course. So I must endorse Juni, Irish, Neil, and Cedro. In body works, you are the gajo.
Let us rebuild. We've got the will.
Shadow, Squacky, and Victor. In mechanic, you are a master.
Let us rebuild. You've got the will.
Oh, grab some youngsters and pass it on. Our nation's future can't wait till you're dead and gone. No!
We build it back, Montserrat. We build it back,
Brick
we build
by
it back,
brick.
Montserrat. We build it back,
Nail
we
by
build it back,
nail.
Montserrat. We build it back,
It can
we
be
build it back,
fixed.
Montserrat. We build it back.
We shall prevail. We cannot fail.
No.
Oh, we cannot fail. No, we cannot fail. Yes, together we can do it. Trust me. The talking must done. Time for work. We talk and we talk, yet we fail to walk the walk. Cause no one wants to shake the apple cart. But bring back our schools program to make this nation strong. And the government needs to play their part. Mandate it in the schools as you do academically to help build a balanced society. Employ our skilled men to teach the fundamentals so we can use it as essentials or credentials. Pops Morris, Kevin, and Tabu, in the arts, the country needs you.
Let us rebuild. We've got the will.
Olivette, Cheryl, Miss Margaret, show the young girls how to stitch.
Let us rebuild.
Yes.
We've got the will.
Oh, grab some young girls and pass it on. Our nation's future won't wait till you're dead and gone. I said no.
We build it back, Montserrat. We build it back,
Stitch
we
by
build it back,
stitch.
Montserrat. We build it back,
Hand by
we build it
hand.
back, Montserrat. We build it back,
It can be
we build it
fixed.
back, Montserrat. We build it back.
We shall prevail. We cannot fail.
No.
Oh, we cannot fail.
No.
No, we cannot fail. Together, we can build a strong nation. Thank you very much.
Voice. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the 7th National Awards, Honors and Awards Ceremony. We are aware that this event took considerable time to plan and organize, and we must show some recognition to those persons who were instrumental in that regard. But before I hand over to Mrs. Daphne Castle to convey the vote of thanks, I would like to remind everyone that following the vote of thanks, a curated selection of hors d'oeuvres will be served to each table. Allow me to now transfer the mic to Permanent Secretary, Office of the Premier, Mrs. Daphne Castle, to express the vote of thanks.
Your Excellency, the Acting Governor and Mr. Simpson, Honorable Premier and Mrs. Farrell, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Members of the Legislative Assembly, National Honorees and Awardee, special invited guests, listeners on the virtual platforms, good evening. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks as we conclude the official segment of this evening's ceremony. On behalf of the Honorable Premier, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, and the Planning Committee, I would like to express appreciation to all those involved in the planning and staging of the 7th National Honors and Awards ceremony. Reverend Jesna Louis Charles for the prayer, emphasizing that the men and women that we are celebrating were called by God with a sense of purpose. Honorable Joseph Farrell, Premier, for your remarks, cementing that the selfless service and contributions of the honorees have been recognized by a grateful nation. Honorable Premier, assisted by Honorable Paul Lewis, Leader of the Opposition, for the conferment of national honors. Heartiest congratulations to the 6 honorees. The Right Honorable Kenneth Allen Q.C, O.B.E, O.E. The Right Honorable Dr. Vernie Clarice Barnes, O.E. Lady Eudora Fergus, O.D. Mr. Sylvester Brown, O.D. Bishop Kenrick Haywood, M.B.E, O.M., and Mr. William Ogaro, O.M., whose extraordinary accomplishments, high standards, and service to Montserrat have been accorded national recognition. Thank you to the National Honors and Awards Committee for their evaluation of the nominations and their recommendations based on the selection criteria specified in law. The committee members have continued to perform their responsibilities with diligence. In the true spirit of recognition, we specially invite Ms. Lauren Fenton to the stage to receive a token of appreciation for having served as the chairperson of the awards committee and her overall guidance and insights over the years. Ms. Fenton, please come forward. She has now concluded her time of service, and so we are recognizing her this evening. Honorable Premier, please join us. Thank you. Thank you both. Yes. Professor Sir Howard Fergus has been a pillar of support with the preparation of citations. We also salute the contributions of Mrs. Mildred Chalmers, territorial song rendition, our reigning Miss Montserrat, Nia St. Clair, for assisting with the presentation of medals and certificates, entertainers Josiah Passard, Edith Dubry, Emerald Shamiols, and The Voice, our reigning Calypso monarch. We record immense thanks for the technical expertise and collective inputs of the members of the Planning Committee, Adina Johnson, Chair, Deborah Lewis, Cynthia Dite, Brenda Lindsay, Charlene Lindsay, and Junicia Irish. The citation presenters, the Office of the Premier staff, GIU and ZGB technicians, the media houses, police officers, the ushers and RMDF escorts, stage manager Denson Daly and crew, light and sound technicians, interior designers, graphic designer, caterers, and the management and staff of the Cultural Center. To Mrs. Lorraine Lewis, who has served as host of the National Honors and Awards Ceremony for 6 of 7 such events, we say a big thank you. And so we're going to ask Mrs. Lewis to come forward to receive a token for her professionalism and continued commitment. Mrs. Lewis. An Honorable Premier will also do the honors. Thank you, Premier. No, okay. Additionally, we extend gratitude to the invited guests attending, Montserratians and friends of Montserrat at home and abroad who are watching via the online video stream or Digicel's Channel 96 or listening on ZJB. Thank you to all for joining us on this momentous occasion. Good evening, everyone.
Unit GIU is the communications arm of the Government of Montserrat. We serve as the official platform for news and information for and about the unit. GIU is the communications arm of the Government of Montserrat. We serve as the official platform for news and information for and about the government's ministries and departments. We develop information products on government's policies, programs, projects, and activities, which are then channeled through various communication platforms. GIU, your official source for news and information on the Government of Montserrat. The government